As darkness blankets the sky and your day slowly fades away, you find yourself laying in bed staring at the ceiling. The world outside is quiet, but inside your mind, thoughts race wildly. Have you ever felt like those lost moments of reflection, those precious minutes before sleep, carry untold power? What if I told you that these nightly reflections are the key to influencing your life's journey in ways you might never have considered? Dr. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, a well-respected psychiatrist, once dedicated her life to studying the process of grief and the complexity of emotions. With her groundbreaking work, she revealed how loss is navigated through different stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and ultimately acceptance. Yet in our daily lives, we often overlook the quiet strength that lies within the stillness of our thoughts each night. What are we really doing during those last moments of consciousness? Are we truly reflecting, or are we just replaying the events of the day? As we lay there, many of us have the tendency to deny our feelings, brushing them aside as if they're merely a nuisance. When was the last time you allowed yourself to completely embrace your emotions instead of pushing them away? Ask yourself, when was the last time you faced your thoughts head on during those quiet evenings? The irony here is rich. While we accept the need for physical rest, we often neglect the spiritual and emotional reflection necessary for personal growth. Think about it. Nightly reflections are not bound by rules or schedules. They are chaotic, imperfect, and inherently human. They don't follow the neatly organized structure we often crave. Instead, they invite us to explore the depths of our hearts, the confusion, the pain, the joy, and the understanding. Yet many of us go through our nightly routines without recognizing this opportunity. What if you treated those moments before sleep as sacred, as a time for engagement with your innermost self? Could this simple shift change your perception of who you are and where you're going? It can be said that our culture distracts us. With the incessant buzzing of notifications, the pull of social media, and the demands of our daily schedules, it's all too easy to switch off our minds and drift into oblivion without a second thought. However, this avoidance breeds unresolved emotions. Dr. Kübler-Ross taught us that acknowledging grief is the first step towards healing. Could the same be true for the emotional pain or confusion you may feel day to day? What might happen if you allowed yourself to confront those feelings each night? Perhaps you want to reflect on a failed relationship, a lost opportunity, or an unmet goal. Each of these experiences carries emotions within them waiting to be unpacked. You might think, but I don't have time, or what good will it do? In reality, allowing yourself to feel deeply before drifting to sleep could be the most transformative practice you adopt. Could the acceptance of our flaws and missteps weave a more authentic story of our lives? The central problem remains. Too many people overlook the power of their thoughts before sleep. By doing so, we mortgaged moments that could lead to greater self-awareness and emotional freedom. What would it take for you to break this cycle? What steps can you take to introduce a new nightly ritual of reflection? Simply asking ourselves the right questions, those that challenge our status quo, can be a gateway to personal revolution. If you're ready to uncover the hidden truths of daily life and the mind, then I encourage you to subscribe now and activate notifications to join this exploration. Remember, those nightly moments might just carry the potential to unravel the intricacies of your life, one reflection at a time. Let's journey together and learn how to embrace these fleeting seconds as powerful catalysts for change. As we delve deeper into our emotional landscape, we must confront the layers of denial and anger that often shield us from the truth of our experiences. These two emotions, intertwined in their complexity, serve as double-edged swords. Dr. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross illuminated the necessity of facing these feelings during her groundbreaking work on grief. Yet, how often do we pause to examine the ways they play out in our lives, especially during our nightly reflections? Picture yourself at the end of a long day. You lie down and the memories begin to flood in. Moments of anger where you felt unheard, or perhaps denial creeping in when faced with difficult truths. How often do you recall a painful experience and immediately shut it down? We may think we are protecting ourselves, but in reality, we only postpone the inevitable. Have you ever considered what it truly means to sit with your anger, feeling it, acknowledging it, rather than burying it beneath layers of "I'm fine"? Denial and anger are common reactions to emotional upheaval. They serve as our first lines of defense against the intensity of our feelings. You might brush aside a hurtful comment made by a friend, convincing yourself it didn't really bother you. This denial acts like a fog that clouds your perception, making it hard to see the reality of your emotions. Yet herein lies the power of nightly reflections, boiling down to this question: can you face your emotions without the fog? What happens if you allow yourself to process that discomfort instead? When examining your life through the lens of denial, consider the unresolved matters that linger. These could be unresolved conflicts at work or personal grievances that haunt you. Each time you avoid addressing them, the weight grows heavier. It begs us to reflect. What truths are we denying about ourselves? Are we afraid of the anger that may arise if we confront these issues? As you weave through these revelations, be aware of the tension that rises. This tension can be uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. Allowing yourself to experience the layers of anger is not a paradoxical trap. It is actually a path toward healing. Anger, when recognized and expressed properly, carries the potential for transformation. Have you taken a moment to consider how your anger could guide you rather than overwhelm you? Let's explore an example. Perhaps you've been feeling unseen at work, overlooked for a promotion you know you deserve. The denial sets in, muffling your voice as you convince yourself that it's not worth addressing, maybe even labeling your anger as impatience or jealousy. But what if, during your nightly reflections, you wrote down these feelings instead? What if you graciously allowed your anger to speak, to guide you into a conversation about your worth with your superiors? It is in recognizing our anger that we can also embrace the latent desires beneath it. Denial may keep us small, but embracing these emotions expands our horizons. Dr. Kübler-Ross emphasized the importance of acknowledging grief as part of the healing journey. In a similar vein, our nightly reflections can act as a canvas for creatively articulating our inner conflicts. As you confront denial and anger in your life, do you notice any patterns? What are these patterns telling you about your needs and desires? This exploration is crucial, for the refusal to engage with your emotional realities can prevent healthy growth. As you reflect each night, ask yourself, what part of my experience have I been resisting? What feelings am I currently denying? And how does this shield me from deeper understanding? Recognize that this resistance can create a cycle where unresolved emotions fester into negativity or even despair. By facing denial and anger, you embrace the transformative potential that lies within these emotions. Remember, the journey of reflection is not to vilify or repress these feelings, but to honor them. When you refuse to engage with your true emotions, you step further away from authentic self-acceptance. Could it be that the courage to face these feelings holds the key to your personal freedom? As you ponder these questions, consider this. While denial might offer comfort temporarily, it does not foster growth. Instead, let's commit to using our nightly reflections as a tool to process what lies beneath the surface. Have you ever experienced denial or anger when reflecting on your life? Leave a comment below. It's time we start this important conversation. Together, let's uncover the hidden treasures within our emotional experiences, leading us closer to a profound understanding of ourselves. As we continue our journey through the labyrinth of our emotions, we must confront a reality that many dread, the negotiation we often undertake with our feelings and the damaging cycle it can create. This negotiation arises when we shy away from our nightly reflections, creating an internal struggle where we bargain with our emotions instead of addressing them directly. It's akin to a game of tug-of-war, where both sides, the parts of us yearning for resolution and those clinging to denial, fight for control. This negotiation does not merely represent a moment of indecision. Over time, it can lead to a spiraling descent into depression. When you think about your nightly reflections, do you notice how often you find yourself navigating this negotiation? Perhaps you sit with a sense of frustration after an intense day, but instead of truly allowing these feelings to surface and guide your thoughts, you dive into distractions, intoning quietly to yourself, "This is not such a big deal," or "I'll deal with it tomorrow." Each time you put off your emotions, you inadvertently establish a bargain, a false promise to engage later, which often does not surface. What toll does this take on your mental well-being? Open your eyes to the reality of this exchange. In our struggle to avoid discomfort, we risk losing touch with crucial parts of ourselves. Each missed nightly reflection is not just a missed opportunity for insight. It deepens the pit of unresolved emotions. Imagine a balloon slowly inflating. Every distraction, every denial, every delay is a breath of air. Eventually, that balloon is bound to burst. Can you relate to this metaphor? Have you experienced this buildup in your own life where unresolved feelings threaten to overload your emotional well-being? Dr. Kübler-Ross focused on the complexity of grief and the importance of truly experiencing grief instead of negotiating a way around it. When we attempt to bargain with our emotions during our reflections, we diminish the impact of our true feelings. We may sweep anger under the rug or pacify sadness by insisting that we should simply be grateful for what we have. As a result, we place ourselves in a constant cycle of suppression and avoidance. When was the last time you allowed yourself to genuinely mourn a loss or feel justifiably angry without bartering for a sense of peace? Take a moment to visualize your typical nighttime routine. Does it involve a confrontation with feelings, or does it oscillate between distraction and superficial acknowledgement? The act of negotiating our emotions can lead to temporary relief, but it's a slippery path towards depression. Each time we avoid, we move further away from the clarity that our nightly reflections can provide. Instead of enriching our understanding, this avoidance takes root in feelings of emptiness, leading to despair and fatigue. Consider your own experiences of depression, however subtle. Is there a pattern? Perhaps you find yourself tired even when the night is free of obligations, or unable to shake the gloom that follows you despite having enjoyed moments throughout the day. These can often be signals that you are avoiding necessary emotional work. Reflect on this. Could it be that your avoidance of certain feelings during your nightly reflections has paved the way for deeper emotional pain? Recognizing this pattern is essential. It leads us to confront a vital question. How do we escape this cycle of negotiation? The answer lies in embracing transparency during our reflections. Instead of convincing ourselves to delay or negotiate with grief, acknowledge its presence. Allow yourself to embrace the full spectrum of your emotions, fear, sadness, regret, and truly sit with them. Answer the questions that emerge. What is this feeling teaching me? How can I honor it without restriction? When we shift our focus from negotiating emotions to genuinely experiencing them, we take powerful steps toward emotional liberation. We can practice self-inquiry without judgment, asking ourselves leading questions that bring clarity instead of confusion. The simple acknowledgement of our feelings turns the tide from avoidance to engagement. As you navigate your nightly reflections, remember that you hold the reins. You have the power to decide whether to engage with your emotions or remain trapped in a cycle. Consider this your invitation to recognize the negotiation within. What's your secret strategy for negotiating your emotions when reflecting at night? Share in the comments. Together, let's shed light on this critical step in transforming nightly reflections into pathways of profound growth and understanding. The journey awaits. As we continue our exploration of emotional awareness, we now arrive at a profound stage that often feels like a vast chasm, the pit of depression. This heavy weight can seem suffocating, often making us feel as though we're trapped in a fog with no clear path forward. But what if I told you that depression, when faced head-on during nightly reflections, could also be a powerful teacher? Dr. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross noted that depression is a stage of grief, a time when we confront pain without fully processing it. It's easy to view depression as an enemy, something to be feared or avoided. Yet in the depths of this emotional state lie valuable lessons and opportunities for growth. When you think about your own experiences with feelings of hopelessness or inertia, do you see them only as burdens, or do you recognize the chance to learn about yourself in those moments? By taking the time to truly reflect on your feelings of depression, you might realize that they're not merely products of external circumstances, but also indicators of internal imbalances that beg your attention. Have you ever felt a wave of sadness wash over you without understanding its source? These moments are not trivial. They act as invitations for deeper reflection. What is at the root of your feelings? Are they connected to unresolved grief, unmet desires, or perhaps a disconnection from your true self? Imagine laying in bed, heart heavy and mind swirling. Take a deep breath. Instead of resisting this emotional state, what if you embraced it? This requires developing self-compassion, allowing yourself the grace to feel without judgment. When you notice a sense of depression creeping in, how do you typically respond? Do you rush to distract yourself or push these feelings aside, or do you take pause to introspect? As you reflect, try examining the beliefs lurking in your subconscious. Often, our thoughts can spiral, crafting narratives that perpetuate our feelings of despair. By recognizing these patterns, we begin to unravel the tangled web of negativity. What thoughts are you repeating to yourself? Do they reinforce your feelings of worthlessness, or can they be transformed into affirmations of hope? Consider also the physical sensations associated with depression. Do you experience fatigue in a way that connects to emotional exhaustion? Emotions manifest in our bodies, and paying attention to the physical aspect can act as a guide. Recognizing these connections can help you to break free from the cycle of despair. What would it look like for you to honor the language of your body as you confront deeper emotional patterns? What would it look like for you to honor the language of your body as you confront deeper emotional patterns? If daily life feels thankless and the weight of existence looms large, remember that exploring depression is not an invitation to wallow, but rather an opportunity to engage deeply with your feelings. Can you imagine allowing this emotional experience to teach you about your needs rather than viewing it solely as a burden? As you engage in this process of reflection, think about what requires healing in your life. Can you identify patterns, situations, or relationships that contribute to this emotional state? When we allow ourselves to stay present with our emotions, we cultivate a space where true dialogue can commence. In this dialogue, you may find the power to rewrite the narrative surrounding your depression. Always remember, acknowledging depression as part of the human experience can pave the way for acceptance. What if, instead of shying away from this state, you viewed these moments as an opportunity to redesign your emotional landscape? This process requires tremendous courage, but with each reflection, you strengthen your emotional resilience. Invite this transformative outlook into your nightly rituals. As you lie in bed with thoughts swirling around, ask yourself, what does my depression feel like? What might it be trying to tell me? Acknowledge that feeling lost doesn't have to mean you are broken. Instead, it may mean you're ready to heal. Let's open this conversation. How has your reflection on feelings of depression led to personal insights? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, every individual faces their unique battles with this emotion, and in sharing our stories, we create a network of support. By working through depression together during our nightly reflections, we can rewrite our narratives and embrace healing journeys that shape our lives. The journey doesn't end here. It unfolds with each reflection, leading us towards a greater understanding of ourselves. As we approach the final leg of our exploration, we must face what lies on the other side of depression: acceptance. This stage is often mistakenly viewed as mere resignation, a passive acceptance of suffering. However, true acceptance is dynamic and transformative. It is the doorway to emotional freedom and a catalyst for genuine personal growth. Reflecting on the lessons from Dr. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, we see that acceptance does not happen in isolation. It comes from a profound engagement with our feelings, including grief, anger, and ultimately sadness. Now, what does acceptance mean in your life? Can you embrace both your joys and your sorrows without judgment? Imagine taking a deep breath and unfolding the layers of your heart, allowing tenderness to replace armor. Acceptance allows us to confront reality instead of avoiding it. It encourages us to recognize the situations that have shaped us, the mistakes we've made, and the trials we've endured. Instead of resisting these experiences, could you take a moment to consider how they have contributed to your unique journey? Engagement with our emotions paves the way to acceptance. It's as though we are crafting a mosaic where each shattered piece of our emotional history forms a beautiful work of art. But this takes bravery, defining moments where you choose to sit with uncomfortable emotions rather than fleeing. Picture your nightly ritual as an artist's studio, a sacred space where you blend the colors of your feelings together to create a masterpiece reflecting the entirety of your existence. How do you typically respond when faced with uncomfortable emotions? Do you find yourself spiraling into distractions, coffee shops, or even binge-watching shows? It's common to seek refuge in things that momentarily appease our restlessness. But here's a question to ponder. What if instead of running, you chose to pause and reflect? You might discover that acceptance is not about liking every aspect of your life, but rather allowing it to be, just as the ocean embraces both calm and storm. Consider the simplicity of saying, "This is where I am right now." This is true acceptance, a statement that opens the door to understanding and compassion. This approach allows you to acknowledge reality without the burden of self-critique. As you embrace this process, ask yourself, what am I learning about my struggles? How can I honor where I am without letting it define my entire being? In your nightly reflections, remember that acceptance can also pave a clearer path for healing. As you process your emotions, visualize acceptance as a bridge leading you to a new landscape. Once you allow yourself to accept your feelings, a sense of relief may wash over you like sunlight breaking through heavy clouds. Acceptance doesn't mean surrendering to despair. Rather, it's about embracing your entire human experience. It's the moment you shed the need for constant perfection, acknowledging that imperfections are part of your journey. As you move toward acceptance, it's important to let go of expectations, both those of yourself and those of others. Release your attachment to how you think things should be and recognize the beauty in simply being. When you allow acceptance to fill your soul, it transforms the way you relate to your world. What if you approach challenges with a sense of curiosity, asking, "What can I learn from this?" rather than despairing over what is or isn't? Let's create actionable steps together. Begin to weave acceptance into your nightly reflections. Each evening, take time to acknowledge one aspect of your life you wish to accept, no matter how small. Perhaps it's a personal flaw, a challenging relationship, or even a professional setback. As you recognize these aspects, journal your thoughts. What insights come from acknowledging these experiences? How does acceptance shift your perspective moving forward? To move toward acceptance, we must also engage with the inherent process of letting go. As you reflect, consider what defenses you've built that no longer serve you. Can you identify outdated beliefs or expectations you've been clinging to? Understand that letting go is not synonymous with erasure. It is about creating space to grow, to evolve into who you want to be. In closing, let's revisit the journey of emotional reflection that we've traversed together, from the depths of denial and anger to the layers of depression and finally to acceptance. Each step is part of a larger narrative, your narrative. How can you integrate acceptance into your nightly reflections and foster growth out of struggles? Share in the comments below how acceptance has manifested in your life, or how you plan to use nightly reflections to embrace this process. Together, we can cultivate a community rooted in growth and understanding, one reflection at a time. Embrace this journey fully. It deserves your attention and your heart. The power lies within you. It revolves around harnessing them as a catalyst for personal growth. Each moment we confront our emotions, from denial and anger to depression and acceptance, presents an opportunity to reshape who we are. So, I invite you to ponder, who do you aspire to become? Imagine your struggles as the sculptor's chisel, shaping your character into its finest form. With every emotional experience, you have the power to evolve. Envision your ideal self. What qualities do they embody? What lessons do they carry from your journey? This visualization isn't just a daydream. It can serve as a real-world blueprint for your transformation. Transformation often requires letting go of old identities and nurturing personal growth. It can feel overwhelming, just as a caterpillar does not instantly recognize itself as a butterfly. But remember, this metamorphosis doesn't erase who you have been. It enhances your being. Are you prepared to embrace this journey, even if it means stepping outside your comfort zone? Nightly reflection can be an essential tool in this transformational process. Reflecting each evening, ask yourself, what is this emotion inviting me to change? For example, if you're grappling with anger, consider what boundaries you may need to set in your life. Engage actively with these realizations, allowing them to inform the actions you take toward becoming your transformed self. Let's explore the power of visualization further. Imagine your future self, standing confidently, embodying all the traits you desire. What actions can you take today to move closer to this vision? Visualization trains your mind to recognize the change you seek. Grounded in action, it can strengthen your resolve and commitment. Embrace that transformation is a gradual process. Much like the tides, there will be waves of progress and setbacks. The key is to remain patient and trust the unfolding of your journey. Alongside this, consider adopting a mantra, something uplifting that resonates with you. Phrases like, I am open to change, or I grow stronger with every challenge can serve as anchors, guiding you through moments of difficulty. As you transform, notice how it impacts your relationships and surroundings. Growth isn't limited to you. It often radiates outward, fostering deeper connections with others. How will your newfound insights shape your interactions? Reflecting on this can deepen your appreciation for the communal aspect of transformation. To bring our conversation to practicality, let's create an action plan. Each night, pick one aspect of your life you want to transform. Write it down and articulate the steps you'll take. For instance, if you seek to become more assertive at work, Detail how you'll communicate your needs and set boundaries. Writing clarifies your intentions, holding you accountable for your transformation. Moreover, consider sharing your journey with others. This sense of community can provide support and encouragement. Opening up about your aspirations lets you draw strength from those around you, creating a network of growth and healing. As we reflect on this transformative journey together, how will you continue to embrace change in your life? What aspirations do you carry from our exploration? Share in the comments below how you envision your transformation unfolding. Remember, the potential for transformation lies within you. With each evening's reflection, let us cultivate a community that supports growth, resilience, and understanding. The journey does not end here. It evolves with each moment of introspection, revealing the remarkable power of change waiting within us all. As we reach the final chapter of our exploration, it's essential to embrace the theme of integration, the process of weaving together all the lessons learned from your emotional journey. This phase is where transformation and acceptance converge, creating a space for you to fully embody the person you aspire to become. Integration allows you to take the fragmented pieces of your experiences, feelings, and insights and unite them into a cohesive narrative that shapes your present and future. But what does it mean to truly integrate these experiences into your life? Consider the metaphor of a patchwork quilt. Each square represents a unique emotion or experience, some vibrant and joyful, while others may be darker and more challenging. Yet, when stitched together, they create a beautiful and functional piece of art. Similarly, as you integrate your emotional experiences, you're not erasing the difficult moments, but embracing them as part of your unique tapestry. So ask yourself, how can you honor the various pieces of your journey to create a richer understanding of yourself? Let's think practically about integration. Each evening, during your nightly reflections, dedicate a moment to acknowledge both the struggles and triumphs that have shaped you. Instead of viewing them in isolation, explore how they influence the person you are becoming. Are there themes that emerge? Perhaps a consistent struggle with self-doubt has led you to cultivate resilience and empathy. What can these lessons teach you moving forward? One powerful way to facilitate integration is through storytelling. Sharing your journey, whether through writing, art, or conversation, can be profoundly liberating. When you articulate your experiences, you grant them meaning and agency. Think about your own story. Has it shifted from one of victimhood to one of empowerment? Can you visualize articulating that journey to others, guiding them through your transformations? By recognizing how each piece of your past contributes to your present, you cultivate a sense of continuity, understanding that every experience has value. Instead of running from past traumas, you embrace them, acknowledging that they have made you who you are. This realization can strip away the shame or guilt surrounding those experiences, helping you to view yourself with compassion and clarity. Emphasizing authenticity is another vital aspect of integration. As you weave together your experiences, consider how to align your values with your actions fully. When your inner self resonates with your external behavior, you create a harmonious and genuine life. Reflect. Are there areas where you feel a disconnect between who you are and how you present yourself? Integrating your emotional experiences invites you to align your truth more closely with how you interact with the world. Integration also involves continually embracing vulnerability. As you share your journey and insights, you open yourself up to authentic connections. Recall the patchwork quilt. Each time you acknowledge a vulnerability, you add another thread to your quilt, enriching your life's tapestry. What feelings arise when you consider sharing your story with others? Does the thought of being vulnerable bring fear or excitement? Moreover, let's turn our thoughts to the concept of self-compassion. As you reflect on your integration process, practice kindness towards yourself. Know that it's okay to have imperfections and to acknowledge the parts of your journey that were challenging. Self-compassion isn't about leniency. It's about recognizing your humanity. How can you continue to cultivate this compassion as you move forward? As we wrap up our exploration, consider setting intentions for your ongoing journey. Use your nightly reflections as a sacred space to envision how you will carry these lessons forward. Ask yourself, what steps will I take to nurture this integrated self? How will I honor my past while stepping boldly into my future? Finally, let's create a community of shared understanding. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How have you recently integrated your experiences, and what challenges have you faced in the process? What intentions do you have for the future? By fostering an open dialogue, we help each other to grow, heal, and embrace the transformative nature of our experiences. The journey you've embarked on is not just about personal gain. It's about creating a legacy of resilience and empowerment that can inspire others. Remember, integration is an ongoing process. It does not end here. Each reflection, every connection, and all the emotional work you've embraced continue to shape you. Embrace this beautiful tapestry of experience that you've created and let it guide you as you step forward into the world, ready to unveil the best version of yourself.